So now we're going to look at some examples of how to write inequalities two different ways. And so we're going to use some examples with numbers only, some numeric examples to start. So it says write two inequalities to compare each pair of numbers. 4 and 5, we know that 4 is less than 5, so we can write it one way that way. Remember that the less than symbol kind of looks like if you make an L with your fingers and turn it sideways, that's the less than symbol. So we read this as 4 is less than 5. Or we could write it another way. We could say that 5 is greater than 4. Notice that when I flipped the order of my numbers, 5 and 4, I also flipped my sign from less than to greater than. If I make that sign, if I turn it on its side, it looks like a backwards L, so that's not less than, but greater than. So we read this as 5 is greater than 4. Both of these statements are true. 4 is less than 5, 5 is greater than 4. So if we do that with negative numbers, it takes a little bit more thought process because we do have to picture this on a number line. We know that here's 0, 1, -1, -2, -3, -4, -5 is here, and -6 on our number line is here. So I just want you to kind of be thinking of that. -6 and -5. So -6 is actually less than -5 because it's further left on the number line. If I have -$6 in my bank account, I have less than someone with -5 because I have more debt than them. That number is actually smaller when we talk about things. So also, we also know then that -5 is greater than -6. So you'll see that when I switch the two numbers, the order, I also have to flip the sign. And so some examples, some algebraic examples comparing variables and numbers. Write another inequality with the same meaning as x is greater than -3. Well, if we change the order and put -3 first and x second, then I just have to flip my sign. So you'll see that it's always opening up to x here. It's also opening up to x here. For those of you who maybe learned in elementary that the alligator's mouth eats the bigger number, in this case it's eating the x because x is bigger. In this case it's still eating x because x should still be bigger. This is the same comparison, just written two different ways. So same thing over here. If I'm going to switch the order 7 and m to m and 7, I'm also going to flip the less than or equal to sign to greater than or equal to. If 7 is less than or equal to m, then m is greater than or equal to 7. And so that is our example of how to write inequalities more than one way. On the next video, we're going to work through some graphing examples together.